At the heart of the pro-choice ideology is the belief that an unborn human being has no right to be in its mother's womb without her consent. The reasoning goes something like this. An unborn human being has no human right to be in a womb, so therefore, removing it by way of an abortion is simply a type of self-defense or a refusal to allow your body to be used against your will. But there's actually some glaring flaws in this reasoning. Firstly, no human being has the right to deliberately deprive another human being of the essentials for life, things like air, food, water, etc. And even though it isn't for older human beings, when human beings are very young, the womb is actually an essential for life, without which they will die. This means that an unborn human being almost certainly does have a human right to be in a womb, by virtue of the fact that removing her from the womb would be an act of deliberately denying her an essential for life that she is entitled to. Then there's the glaring problem of how she got into the womb in the first place. She didn't choose or target her mother's womb. As an unborn human being, she has no intent at all, let alone any malicious one. So therefore, you can't legitimately claim that abortion is an act of self-defense, because for something to be an act of self-defense, it would have to be an action that is being undertaken against an unjust aggressor, someone who means to deliberately do you harm. But as I've said, the unborn human being is not being malicious or aggressive, and they aren't doing anything deliberately. In fact, the unborn human being didn't even put herself into that womb. In the overwhelming majority of cases, she was put into that womb by two other mature human beings when they chose to engage in the most effective method of making a new, vulnerable, and totally dependent human being: consensual sex. It is obviously completely contradictory to claim that the unborn human being is a type of bodily invader without any rights when she was put into that very situation of total dependence by other people without ever consenting to being put into that womb. Why should she lose her bodily rights and have her life deliberately taken away from her because of something that she never consented to in the first place? Which brings us to the biggest flaw of all in this reasoning. Obviously, abortion isn't just the act of removing a human being from a womb. It's actually an act that deliberately kills an unborn human being, which raises a very important question. Even if an unborn human being doesn't have a right to be in a womb, like pro-choicers claim, does that also mean that we now have the right to kill and remove her from the womb? I think the answer to this question is clearly no. The reason I believe this to be the case is because we would never treat a human being this way if they were in the same situation outside a womb. Just imagine, for example, a 16-year-old refugee who is fleeing from horrific and barbaric atrocities in her home country. During her journey of escape, she destroys her passport and all of her official documentation before hiding on board a ship bound for America. Then, 12 months later, she is arrested by the police on a totally unrelated matter. But when they come to process her at the station, they discover that she is an illegal alien. She has no right to be in America, and she can't be sent anywhere else because she has no passport or official documents anymore. Even though she has no right to be in America and she can't be sent anywhere else, that doesn't mean that the US government now has the right to kill her with a lethal injection and then scatter her ashes at sea. Even if she is currently in a place that she has no right to be, she is still a human being, and that means that no one else has the right to kill her because of the fact that she has a fundamental human right to life. If this is true for a 16-year-old refugee who has no right to be where she is presently located, then why would it not also be true that a much younger human being located in a womb also has the right to life, and that killing them would also be a gravely unethical thing to do, regardless of whether or not they have the right to be where they are presently located? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.